I know, I'm late to the unboxing party for this one, but I couldn't find one in stock and I didn't have a project that warranted it until now. Now that I have it in front of me, the anticipation's killing me. Today I'll unbox the camera that I should actually be using to film this video. But if I did that, this would no longer be an unboxing video. We're looking at the new Sony ZV-1 today. I chose it because of its feature set, its size, and the flip out screen. Now let's see what we have in the box. So unusually, no seal on the box. So we'll open it up. Limited warranty, manual, the fuzzy for the microphone, USB micro B, unfortunately. One tiny battery. And the camera itself. And so there's the camera. A little bit smaller than I thought. It's got some good heft to it. Nice size screen. That looks good. So there's the camera. Also grabbed myself an SD card. V60 speed, so plenty fast enough and should be plenty space. And now that we have the camera ready to go, I'll charge it up using the unfortunate design choice of micro B USB. And then we'll go and take some sample shots as well as some comparison shots, comparing it to my GoPro as well as my Nikon D5200. Well, the Sony is charged up and now we're using it to film with. Although not how I normally film, I am holding it like a vlogger, which is how the camera is marketed. It says so right here on the box. Before we jump into comparisons, a bit about why I chose the Sony. I did look at the Canon G7X Mark III as well as the Nikon Z50 before buying this Sony. The Canon reviews mentioned image softness and autofocus issues, and I wasn't a fan of the vertical flip screen. The Sony also has a couple extra features the Canon doesn't have, such as hybrid autofocus. With the Nikon, the flip screen was essentially unusable without a special bracket from SmallRig, and while it did use my existing Nikon lenses, there is no guarantee it would work with my Sigma lenses, which occasionally need firmware updates for new bodies. The Z50 also needed an expensive F-mount adapter and overall was larger and more costly than the Sony. Oh, mosquitoes. Let's try that again. I also looked at upgrading my GoPro instead of buying the Sony, but the GoPro's field of view is way too wide for what I do, and having the Sony zoom lens with depth of field made that a very short consideration. Now let's look at the comparisons. I hope you found these comparisons helpful. After using the Sony ZV-1 for a day to put this video together, I do have some thoughts about it. First is the USB implementation. A higher current power delivery over the USB would have been nice, especially while it is on a tripod for an extended time. A USB-C plug, which is reversible and offers faster file transfers, would have been ideal. Also, it takes a bit of playing with the camera to get it to show as a media device in Windows 10. And even when you do get it showing correctly, you can't delete files off the camera using a computer without getting a database error. All deletions must be done in camera, or you have to format the card every time you download. The lens is a bit of a mixed bag. I wish it would go wider and longer, but I suspect Sony traded the shorter zoom for a faster aperture, which I think is probably a reasonable decision. It lets you frame your shots well, but you won't be going birding with this lens. The lack of a flash was originally a concern for me, but the Sony has great high ISO performance and a wide aperture, so this proved to be a non-issue. In terms of gimmicks or features, the high frame rate is cool, but the duration is very short, so you have to time it just right when shooting in this mode. The product placement focus feature didn't really have value for me, as you have to turn steady shot off to use it. The battery life is short, and the battery door is covered when you mount it to a tripod, so you have to plan around that. The USB plug will give it enough power so the battery doesn't die, but you can't use the camera and charge the battery at the same time. There just isn't enough power. I thought I would miss the mode selection wheel, but after using the camera, I didn't. Sony's firmware gave some careful consideration to ensure everything functioned as it should and as anticipated. Lastly, the autofocus is amazing. It picks out what I want and it rarely misses. The reviews talked about it, but I didn't really realize how good it was until I used it myself. Concluding the comparison, for stills, the Sony was on par with my old Nikon D5200 with the Sigma lens in well-lit conditions, and the Sony beat it in high ISO conditions. For video, it beat the GoPro 5 in every way. In addition to just flat out better video, being able to frame the picture better with the lens and have control over depth of field makes the camera worth the price of admission. Granted, I'm comparing the Sony to two complementary products, not necessarily competing products. I hope you have found this review useful. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and hit subscribe if you'd like to see future videos from me filmed with this very Sony camera. And thanks for watching.